Hello, everyone. My name is Mark Kageyama, and I'd like to welcome everyone here to the Cancer Conquering Community. Uh, this is a beautiful, beautiful community of very positive people. Doesn't matter if you have cancer or not to be part of this. We have our Facebook group, and we also have a separate YouTube channel for the community. So make sure that you check that out. And we are so happy and honored to have a very special guest, a very, very knowledgeable person. I've done three video series with him on my YouTube channel, To Be Your Own Hero, and a gentleman who is absolutely knowledgeable about the cancer journey. He's a longtime brain cancer survivor. I'm not going to steal his thunder. So, uh, what I'd like to do is bring Georges on at this time. Mr. Georges Cordoba, please introduce yourself and let's get into a great discussion.
All right. I'll repeat my name. It's Georges Cordoba. Yes, I'm a cancer survivor, and give you some more details in a second. I am originally from Caracas, Venezuela. I've been in the United States since 1979. I came to the States to play NCAA Division One tennis. I had a full ride scholarship to be part of the tennis team. Obviously, I had to continue to maintain my position in the team top six to be honored with this scholarship. But that gave me the chance to study engineering for free. Well, not for free. I had to play tennis, and that was really my work through college, playing tennis for the team. In those days, I just to have an edge in competition, I did a minor along with my engineering degree in nutrition, and it was all to have an edge against my opponents, energy-wise. And later on, I learned how to visualize, how to do mental rehearsing to also have an edge in a tennis match, or learning how to blank out folks that I would really not do well if I knew they were watching me, like my dad. So I had to learn many different approaches and techniques to be a better tennis player, and did little did I know that was going to be an essential ingredient in my healing process. And another thing that I like to share with you guys is that even though I was born in Venezuela, my dad's family came from Madrid, Spain. They migrated to Venezuela after World War II. And my mother's side of the family migrated from Greece after World War II to Venezuela. So these two families met in Venezuela. It's a miracle, and that's my sister and I were born there. So we're first generation Venezuelans. But again, when I came to the States, actually I came in 1988 to learn English, Alexander. I did it for a year with this exchange student program. I repeated my senior high school, my senior year in high school in English. And so that's how I learned the language. But I loved the country, and I knew that if I was going to strive in tennis, maybe I could come and study here. So that's a little bit on my background. But the one thing that I want to share is that on my Greek side of the family, when I looked at the entire landscape, uh, I felt like I would be doomed. And I say this is regarding cancer. I saw my father, my grandfather passed away. I was 4 years old from cancer. Then his brother, who also, the whole family migrated to Venezuela, also passed of cancer, a different type of cancer. And later on, two of my grandmother's sisters passed of cancer. One was in Greece still. Then my godfather, Catholics and also Greek, He passed of cancer. Later on in my life, I was already 40 or so, 38. My uncle passed of cancer. And then 3 weeks before I was diagnosed with cancer, my dear mother passed of cancer. All of them with different types, but so I feel like, it was destiny. And lo and behold, I kind of like feared the disease, and it happened just like the movie The Secret, or all this stuff that they talk about, the mindset and how you attract stuff that you don't want. But in the middle of all the emotional clutter, it was a roller coaster. I don't believe it. I was angry. I denied it. It can't be. What's going to happen with my 5 children? We had 5 little children at the time. That was a blessing. So in the midst of all that, something really came into me, maybe my competitive spirit. And I said, you know what? I said, no, I'm going to beat the odds. I'm going to be the first family member that will survive this monster, which is how I saw it. And I went on my journey. And after 10 years and 10 surgeries and metastasis of 8 tumors in my brain, I beat the odds, and I survived an advanced melanoma, again with metastasis of 8 tumors in my brain. 2 of them were not operable. So I did like everybody else. There is a rule of the mind. I was sharing last week, and maybe I scared some people away. But again, I believe that the ones that are here now, you're here for a reason. You're here to listen to this stuff and understand some components that maybe you heard a lot the phrases, but don't know exactly what they mean. But in my case, again, there were 2 tumors in my back lobe that were not operable. 4 of the 10 surgeries were in my brain. I had 4 craniotomies. They really had to saw my skull several times and thank God for that, because these things were operable, and I did not get any of the side effects of the surgeries that they mentioned I would have. I had some gamma knives procedures, which they called also surgeries, but I don't count it in those 10, if not as 12 of them. But at the end of the day, after my second craniotomy, and this is year 8, and mind you, getting sick in the U.S. Or anywhere, but especially here, is it's very expensive situation. All you guys that are survivors and are going through the disease know this. You get to a point, if you're going long enough, that your insurance doesn't even, you already tap out, and then next of that it's debt, it's medical debt, medical bills and so forth, which is what happened to me. I did have a leap of faith. I used to be, like I say, I studied engineering. It was computer science, software engineering. And in the midst of all this, I decided to jump ship. I'm a person of faith, and I had a leap of faith, and I said, you know what? I'm going to shift from technology to health and wellness. And I'll tell you, keep that on your parking lot, because I'll explain a little bit of why and what I did that. But on year 8, I'm going through already eight surgeries, and that it was a pattern. It was surgery, treatment, remission, recurrence, surgery, treatment, remission, recurrence. And on year 7, I had 2 surgeries, but it was a loop that was really getting, I was fed up. I was very tired of the situation, needless to say, broke, even though I had a pretty nifty or attractive career. But, 8 years into this, we had to tap into IRAs, 401ks, college funds for the kids, because I mean I could not work. After a while, it was very tough for me to work, and it was a very aggressive situation. I tried to work, but I wasn't as productive as I could be, and I never thought how this was gonna impact my career. So I had to do a transition from the my CTO positions, Chief Technology Officer, into have somebody else to come in and do the work because I wasn't that productive. I had to be honest with myself. I continue to work as a consultant with this company, but from home, and it was a completely different life. But one thing that I want to share is that it gets to a point, and I've heard this last week. We had an amazing turnout, and the week before, but I keep hearing this over and over and over and again. I see this. You guys are warriors, like I in a way we have to be, but we going 3 years into it, 6 years into it, and in my case, on my 8th year, I was fed up, and I said this got to be something else. What triggered that whole thing was that after my first craniotomy, I said second, but after my first craniotomy, which was an opening from ear to ear in my front lobe, they came out and say, we finally found a chemotherapy that goes through the brain. It goes to the brain. The brain is very cautious of what it accepts to go in there. And so, not knowing better, I just said, okay, let's do it. I had to do it orally. There were capsules, which, by the way, each capsule was $1,000. And I had to take one a day for Monday through Friday, then take a break on the weekend, and then go again Monday through Friday, 3 weeks. And I have to say something as a side note here. One thing that I want you to remember today is that we have, as a hypnotherapist that I am as well, we have 12, 13 rules of the mind. And one of the rules of the mind is that the mind goes, for all of us, the mind goes to what is familiar. And what is familiar to all of us in the West is to go to an oncologist at the moment that we are diagnosed with cancer. There's no other option in our minds. I was one of them. I just had to, I grew up seeing this. So before I get going and tell you about my decision to go natural, I want to share a story that I've heard from a mentor of mine about Bruno, a very tiny baby elephant that was tied by his trainer as he was little with this tiny rope and a tiny stick for him not to move around, because he was a baby. But he grew. He kept growing, and became a very large animal, a giant. And guess what? He was still tied to that little rope and little stick. And one day, this passing traveler sees this elephant with this little tie rope and asks the trainer, hey, how come this huge animal that can break trees does not, pull away from that little string? So the trainer said, well, because we taught him, and he came to believe that that he cannot pull away from that string. Well, here's the deal. This is the same thing. It's an analogy of what happens to us in terms of this rule of the mind, that we go to what is familiar. We were taught, like Bruno, that the only way to heal from cancer is to go through the conventional stuff: chemotherapy, immunotherapy, radiotherapy, and all of a sudden we don't have anything else out there. And so at the end of the day, going back to my thing, I accepted two things. Number one, that they did 6 weeks of radiotherapy in my head. I accepted that because That's all I knew. And then after that, they gave me this treatment where actually they were at the same time where I had these capsules. And on my sixth capsule, in other words, I did 1 week, then the weekend, and then the second week on Monday, I'm taking this capsule, and I shared a little bit about this last week, but I felt like I was dying. I felt like I was going to have a heart attack. All of a sudden, my heart went all over the place, pumping very fast and strong. I could feel it. I had this anxiety attack, this energy, excess energy going like through the roof. And I kind of got scared. I said, man, what is this? And it came to my mind. I thought it's probably this capsule, this stuff, this new stuff that was approved by the FDA. So I managed to sit down in the couch in the family room. My wife wasn't there, the kids were in school, and I relaxed. But as I relaxed, I was kind of meditating and praying and actually acknowledging that this stuff was not working for me. None of this stuff, 8 years with this same visual cycle. So at that point, I started to pray for discernment about other alternatives. And when my wife got home, I called my sister to pick up the kids from school. And I asked my wife to take me to church. And I went to the chapel and I walked towards the altar. I kneeled and I cried. I don't know for how long I cried. But I was just basically giving up, surrendering to the process in terms that, hey, they're trying. These guys are trying, but it's not working for me. And as I was surrendering, really, I started to feel, hey, I can do this naturally. So I prayed about that. I cried. I just, like I said, give me some time I can see my kids graduate from college, or my youngest daughter doing her first communion, stuff like that. The important things in life, not my cards or my career or anything like that. But that happened. Now, as I was going home, my first wife, who's my best friend still, and Nidia's best friend, they're very good friends because they weren't the cause of our separation or anything like that. My kids love her as well. But she was an ultrasound tech for cardiovascular and obstetrics. And so guess what? She got scared. No, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? You crazy? You're gonna stop conventional stuff right now after 8 years? And I said, precisely, it's not working for me. I have this feeling, which by the way, we all have it. Your intuition is your best coach. But we have actually, like Bruno, learned in a way to give that power away and not trusting it. That's where a little bit where faith comes. Hey, if I got myself sick, because cancer, by the way, is not hereditary, but if I got myself sick, you know what? I can undo that physically, emotional, mentally, and spiritually, which I'm going to share a little bit about that. But at that time is when I decided to stop. We have doctors in the family. If you have a copy of my book, you'll see in the back, one of the doctors said, hey, George's proved is all wrong. I mean, he did it. And they were friends and relatives in the family that they were scared. They said, no, you crazy, don't stop. Guess what? Because that's all they know too. And they have their best intentions. But guess what? These doctors are not nutritionists, they're not psychologists, they're not massage therapists or acupuncturists. They don't know any of that. They only have 1 hour in their medical school for nutrition. So whatever you ask them, I was told to do some stuff that was actually hurting me. Having all this quote unquote shakes that had more than 30 grams of refined sugar. That was really amazing in terms of having acidity in your body, which is what the cancer cells like. So when I made that decision against everyone there, trusting myself, things start happening to me. They just, all of a sudden, all these angels in the form of humans just started coming around me, and I opened myself to that, which is a key factor. We have to open ourselves instead of hiding that we have a problem. How can you get help from somebody that loves you if you're gonna basically hide your situation? So all this stuff started happening. I didn't have a coach, but I I research so much every day in my free time, because I have a lot of free time in terms of job, about healing. And that's how I started to really tap into this.
Excuse me, Georges, where did you research?
Oh, well, there were different places. It was in Google. Obviously, it was getting big, but I went to places that were, I look at the word holistic health. I looked at the word of natural healing. This is before I really made the decision, but I was going through all this stuff, and then, like I say, there were angels in the form of humans, and one of them was a former employee of mine. She gave me this book on emotional intelligence that came to me, part of the research. But as I was reading the book, I landed in this chapter about forgiveness, and it really opened my eyes. I also did some research based on my faith and the New Testament about Jesus's miracles and how they happen and why. Because he never said, I'm the avatar here, I'm the Son of God, or he always said, hey, Mark, your faith has healed you. Hey, Carrie, your faith has healed you. Hey, Nancy, your faith has healed you. Alexander, your faith has healed you. And that really struck my mind. And why did I do that? It's because one day I was at Mass. I was going to Mass every morning, and the priest dedicated the consecration. If you're a little familiar with Catholicism, he dedicated that to my healing. The Mass was in Spanish, and when I was leaving, when I was receiving communion, I was feeling this warm substance in my body. I was just feeling it, and I dropped a few tears. And then I said, thank you for this experience, Lord, and just give me more time to be a better dad, a better Christian, a better husband, and a better employer. And so as I was going to to my car in the parking lot, this lady yells my name. I turned, and then she comes over, and I'm thinking, well, and she goes, hey, Georges, I need a favor from you. And I thought, wow, my prayers, be a better Christian, help people. And I said, yeah, how can I help you? And she said, well, you know that Jesus himself, as a human, he was scared before his passion. So I kind of like suspect that you wake up at night worried or anxious and so forth. And I said, yeah, that's right. And she goes, well, the favor is that when you wake up again, go to the New Testament and focus on Jesus's miracles. You're asking me about the research. It's really, when you seek, you find things happen to you. I don't consider myself lucky. I consider that my faith, putting into action, helped me out. But I did some research in nutritional sites, in terms of some of the mushrooms and some Japanese algae that I worked with. And I'll explain that in a second. So again, I went natural. I went the holistic health route to conquer my advanced stage 4 melanoma with mets in the brain. And here I am. In July will be my 13th year free of cancer. Now, what is holistic health? Because, as a holistic health coach that I am, I get asked that, what is holistic health? Does anybody know here what is holistic health? I mean, can you kind of like say, oh, holistic health is this? No? It's okay. Can you allow me to share the screen
Um,
real quick?
yeah, I hope it does not shut off the recording, but
Oh,
we'll take a chance, okay?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I've had it happen. Uh, I'll go
Oh,
ahead and allow it, but just keep that in mind. We might lose the recording. So anyway, go ahead.
let's see. So I want to read some stuff that I found. But holistic health really is I'm being asked a lot of that. It's really it's a form of healing, okay, that deals with the whole being, your emotions, your body, your mind, and your spirit, as opposed to treating the symptoms, okay? And as I mentioned last week, it is interesting because uh, only percentage-wise, only 3% of my clients have gone completely natural. They're still really hanging on to that rule of the mind, which is fine. The whole thing about integral medicine and stuff it's good. I just teach my clients that are kind of like wary of stopping what they're doing. I don't never even suggest that, but I teach them how to use mental rehearsing, visualization as they getting this drugs inside of their body, because they're not natural, they're just drugs, okay? But this is something interesting that I have heard since I joined cancer, the cancer conquer community, and I hear it all over the place. The fact is that no one really mentions anything that is of holistic nature. We're all only focusing on what new chemo or what drugs they give us or what the doctor says, which, by the way, we lose all our power to the doctor. They're not the healers. They're trying to help you heal. And but we don't do that. We give them all the power, and the doctor said this. Oh, I have this. I'm gonna do this IV with vitamin C. Oh, no, 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 don't do that. It may disrupt your treatment, you know. And so on top of everything, they don't encourage that. And so I did some research about this, and I'd like to just tell you a couple of things that they're worth they're worth really sharing. Okay, um, here it is. The investment in pharmaceutical for cancer research far overweights the funding for holistic healing approaches. The global cancer drug market is valued at hundreds of billions, not millions, billions of dollars, with major pharmaceutical companies, governments, listen to this, excuse me, private investors pouring vast resources in drug development, clinical trials, and treatments like chemotherapy, like I said, you guys know, yeah, hypnotherapy, immunotherapy, and targeted therapies. On the other hand, holistic health, which includes nutrition, mind body practices, alternative therapies, and lifestyle changes, receives significantly less funding. Most research in this field is privately funded or supported by smaller organizations, as it does because it does not generate the same level of financial return as pharmaceuticals. Okay, this is something to keep in mind because I'll share some other things. But what? So you wonder, you know, why, or finally, when is? How can this happen? How can we change this trend? Because we heard Jamie last week, all excited about getting more funding and finding the cure for cancer through drugs and stuff. Okay, that's great, but I would have really loved for him to talk. Hey, what don't we do? Why don't we look to what really should be we should be looking? Because I can tell you with um, with strength that healing, my friends, happens from the inside out. You know, and when and I'll share some reasons here about what we could do. This is something that I'll be honest with you. I asked AI to give me this answer here and what to do. What could we do to really increase at least the balance of doing research in other areas? But it's almost impossible because there's no money for it. Since 1975, only like $1 billion has been in, or not even 500 million of this has been government given grants from government to research holistic health. The rest has been the drug industry, okay? And there are so many things there. I mean, if I did not, I'm not against, the medical field. I mean, if it wasn't for the 10 surgeries, I would not be talking to you. But I do not agree into this pattern of, this huge industry going behind ourselves. I do not. You might not like to hear this from me, but I do not believe that there is any intention to find a cure for cancer. And I tell you why. Not only because, it's not a good business, it's because the only cure, and I say this boldly, is within us. And I tell you how it is. Holistic health, like I said, it goes through your body, emotions, your mind, and your spirituality. I have to share this and keep going with your answer, Mark. When I tapped into the forgiveness situation in my life, I mean, like I say, I surrendered and I humbled myself, and I actually looked. I looked for folks that hurt me when I was younger. And I have to share this. None of them remember that they hurt me. Can you believe? I couldn't believe it. And I say, I'm holding this venom on me for years, for decades, and they don't even remember. But they say, well, I don't remember. I am sorry. We were youngsters, but yes, I'm sorry. So then I did the same, but again, I reached out to folks that I heard when I was a youngster. And the same thing. None of them but one remember that I heard them, and they forgave me. And then I did the last and hardest of all, which was forgiving myself. But when all that stuff happened, this is within maybe 3 months that because I really had the intention to work on the forgiveness. It really resounded on me when I read about forgiveness. And I have to say something for you guys that are going through the disease. When that happened, that I work on forgiveness, I never had another recurrence. No more recurrence. All disease, it is found with research, and you can go into many places. But the thing is that it's very hard to find these places. Why? Because there's no interest. Why doesn't the insurance industry cover natural healing? It's very expensive to go and try to get, let's say, an ozone or oxygen treatment or vitamin C infusions. Anything that you do holistically, maybe you want to go into, let's say, the area of your mindset, meditation, yoga, stuff like that, Reiki, like my wife was saying, Reiki practicing. That stuff is healing, but expensive. So people, they don't, I have insurance here, so I'm going to go with my insurance. There is a blockage. I have to share this. When I printed some of my best-selling books, and I tried to sell them to gift stores and hospitals in Miami, in all the hospitals in Miami. You know how many accepted my book? None, zero. They told me that the book had issues. So I'm thinking, I'm not, I mean, I'm not an advocate against traditional treatment. I don't ask my clients to do it, but when they go long enough with me, they start wondering. They're saying, "Man, I'm clear. My tests are clear. This and this," and they're still scared to stop, or they tell the doctor. And I mean, I've been doing this for 8 years now since I shifted my career, and I've heard so many stories, including one new client I have in India, about the doctors, how they actually communicate to the patient, in ways that are not, if you're not strong mentally, man, they get you. Like I have a client that she was clear three different scans in 4 months, and the doctor suggested that she kept going with her immune therapy. This lady lives in LA and Los Angeles, in case it came back. And so I'm thinking, wow, it's up to you. You have the answers. So anyway, I just wanted to share all this stuff, and this is what Chat GPT told me about what it could be done. Again, $0 compared to 1,000, let's say, or $1 to 1,000. Scientific research and clinical trials. More well-designed studies on holistic approaches, nutrition, meditation, herbal medicine, energy healing, can help validate their effectiveness and integrate them into mainstream cancer care. Collaborating with medical professionals, encouraging oncologists and healthcare providers to work alongside holistic practitioners that can create a more integrative approach to treatment, which is really what I try to do, number two, myself, because I understand that the fear factor in continuing to be attached to chemo and stuff, which is okay, because it does help a lot of people. It didn't help me. Then the other one is patient advocacy and awareness. Cancer patients who have benefited from holistic healing, this is millions of them, that you don't know this, can share their stories, creating demand for more integrative options. Education and certification, standard training and certification for holistic cancer care, and kind of like I did. And then policy and insurance coverage. I just touched on that. Right now, there's no interest. Somehow, I believe there is a power be behind the scenes that does not allow this stuff to be covered by insurance. Can you imagine if that was a possibility, and you can say, well, I'm going to continue to work on this, but I'm going to try this other stuff. It's covered by the insurance. And stop this whole fear-based stuff. There's no evidence that any holistic approach affects the chemotherapy treatments or all the other immunotherapy stuff and radiotherapy. There's no evidence. So, but still, it is really like we're going against the wave. I don't. It is very tough to envision a mainstream holistic health approach. It's been tried for now maybe 50 years, and no, it doesn't happen. But and so I'm not sure if the recording went away. I just wanted to share that I encourage you. Oh, here a second. I want to finish up with something. I encourage you to open up your minds and try it, just like Mark has tried different things, and he had a couple angels that came to him and say, look, in this case, in your case, it's not, veganism does not work. I mean, you need to get stronger again. And he actually listened and basically took action. Take action and follow, trust your instincts, and look for people. I did look for folks that went natural. I actually took my time to do that, and I found a few, and I realized common denominators with me. It's like, fear instead of faith that this stuff will work, and understanding that, what I really, 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 it really saddens me when a client approaches me, well, after years of being in treatment, thousands of dollars, poor quality of life, the doctors say, hey, go home. We exhausted everything we could try. And now this person goes home and dies. Their mindset is so dependent of what this new God, the doctors, has been telling them, that they go and do that like Bruno, in a way. Okay, I'm gonna go there, and I'm not gonna move. They told me that I'm gonna do that. What? No way. No way. We could talk for hours about how I went to my treatments and how I avoided the energy of fear. I would tell the nurse practitioner to actually call me. I would wait for my turn in the hospital's garden. And so when it was my turn, I would go out there and get myself checked and all this stuff. It's protecting myself. It's finding ways to do it. One of the things that I did, and I'm going to share with you to close this up, if you allow me, Mark, is a mental rehearsing for all of us. This is for prevention. This is one of the tools that I used and that I learned when I was an athlete. And it really works, because I told you the mind has 13 rules. We only talked about one, the one that Bruno had, and most of us when we get cancer. But there's other 12 of them. And one of them is that the mind learns by repetition. The mind does, in conjunction with your subconscious mind, everything that you say, you think, or you imagine, or you see. Just like I was imagining that cancer was going to get me. You see, it did it. Because I kept saying, repeating through my years, that I probably would be the next one in line. And it happened. Now, how about the other side? What if I just say I am healed and do it right now? The mind doesn't know about tomorrow or yesterday. It only knows today. So if you don't mind, guys, I'd like to close up this by you guys closing your eyes, okay? And we're going to take a few deep breaths. Can I do that, Mark? Hello? Can you hear me? Yeah? I'm not sure. Are you guys there?
I am here, but I don't know, Mark.
Okay. How much time we have? Oh, we have time.
We have time. We have time. You can do it, George. Just
Yeah,
don't worry.
it's about 8 minutes. Okay.
Yeah. No problem.
Around
No
there.
problem.
So go
No
ahead,
problem.
you guys. Let's try
It will be
this.
amazing.
I
Yeah,
don't see
sure.
Nancy. I think Nancy.
Let me see
I don't
Nancy.
see her. But it
Yes,
doesn't matter.
Nancy is there.
Oh, okay. Well, because
Yeah.
I'm sharing the screen. So go ahead, guys. Let's do this. I want to give you guys, if you haven't done this, at least you have a flavor of what you can do if you use some of your time to nourish yourself. Because that's another issue that we see here. No one has time for themselves. They're in a hurry all the time. They have errands to do. They're eating fast, which is not good. As a nutrition, I can tell you this. We've done it in a different talk. But at the end of the day, it is us. It is us that produce the acidity in the body that makes us sick. All chronic disease start in an inflamed body, in a body that is acidic. Okay, and how does that happen? Well, emotional clutter creates cortisol. Stress creates cortisol. Eating in fast because you have to do errands, that is not good. We chew too little before we swallow, and then now the stomach does not know what to do. This beautiful machine, the digestive tract, does not. It has a way to do it. It's understanding that you need to chew more so you can process the food in your mouth first with the saliva enzymes. Then you go ahead and swallow.
Mikey
If you
said.
don't, yeah, if you don't do that, the stomach does not know what to do. It's not designed to process foods, and it sends this stuff to fat. And with time, that becomes acidic. That's another way that we produce acidity in our bodies. It's not, the diet really is 25% of our nutrition and digestion. Is who we are. 75% of our digestion is who we are when we're eating. But I'd like to finish up with this short mental rehearsal, if you don't mind. So I'm going to ask you guys to close your eyes and take a couple deep breaths and exhale. And being seated with a tall spine, begin to scan your body for any tension and tune into the quality of your breath. Healing happens from a relaxed state of mind. If we are anxious or stressed out, we're blocking the healing process. So gently soften your shoulders, your back, and allow your jaw to relax. And try to do this without collapsing your spine. Allow yourself to relax into this moment. I will be guiding you for this small segment of time, which means you have nothing to do or know where to be. Mindfully allow your breath to create a relaxed pattern of inhaling and exhaling. Don't try to control it, just observe your breathing. And now, imagine a divine healing light descending upon you. Choose your favorite color for this divine light and allow it to enter your body through the top of your head. This healing light is now spreading through your brain, eliminating everything that is not good for you. Continue mindful with your breathing. And now this light is spreading through your forehead, your eyes, your mouth, your throat, and your neck, eliminating stress, anxiety, pain, and clearing your thyroid. It now descends through your arms all the way down to your fingers, to your hands and your fingers. And you're beginning to feel this sense of health and wellness. It now descends to your lungs and is eliminating, melting, eradicating anything and everything that is not serving you. It is now descending through your spine cord, cleaning and strengthening it. It continues to move and fill every tissue in your core area, your stomach, pancreas, your liver, your kidneys, splint, small intestine, large intestine, clearing, eradicating any form of disease. It continues to descend through your hips, down your knees, and all the way down your feet and your toes. Be mindful of your breathing again. No forcing it, just observe it. Now the divine light is ascending from your toes all the way up to your head, melting away all cancerous cells and tumors it finds on its way. And as it starts to exit your body, it reminds you that all healing happens from the inside out and not from the outside inward. Now imagine a version of yourself that is fully committed to live a healthy and purposeful life. A version of you that nourishes your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual self. This version of you is entirely committed to making small, manageable choices, bringing you better health and more energy. Can you see this version of you enjoying the results that you want now? Embrace your new version's emotional life and intuitions. Now continue to breathe mindfully. With each inhale and exhale, allow yourself to settle into this moment, feeling secure in your choices. Allow yourself to feel the clarity that you have created for yourself. Allow these feelings to express themselves as a smile. Inhaling and exhaling, notice what it feels like to be this new version of you. Inhaling and exhaling, feel the revitalized energy of a body that is nourished on a cellular level with consistent movement. And now, bring all of this with you back into the present. And slowly begin to wiggle your toes and your fingers as you come back to the now. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. May God bless you. I hope you didn't fall asleep, but if you did, your subconscious mind is absorbing all this stuff. This is, everything is practice. There are some great things that you can do. I'm going to share a link, if Mark allows me, in the Facebook group. It's a giveaway with a few things on the rules of the mind, how to balance your body to have a balanced pH. In other words, to eliminate the acidity in your body, how to eat, how to sleep, many things that are in there that, and also a recording version of, for men or women, similar to what we did today, recorded by my son, who is an actor and a musician, so he has a great voice to do this, but to apply it to as a parallel to what you're going through. I would have, this is what I do. And, there's, if anyone wants to hear some great success stories about going through the holistic health route, without, only 3 people in 8 years have gone 100% natural like me. But the stories are very, they're success stories that are inspirational because of the fact that they realize that they have the power within. And at the end of the day, when things finish, and there's no explanation by doctors. They call it spontaneous remission. I'm a spontaneous remission person for doctors, except my oncologist, which is an angel. He was one of the angels. He accepted. I said what I was going to do, and he says, "Are you sure, Georges?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm sure." He goes, "Well, yeah, do it." And but I said, "But please, I appreciate if you continue to do the treatment. I'm not treatments. All the scans and stuff. Prevention stuff. And he agreed to continue to do the scans and stuff until they were not needed. And he was surprised when I finished my book and it did so well. I went and donated one to him and one to his nurse practitioner, and they both said something very interesting. But especially Christina, the practitioner, she goes, "The moment that you came in here and the stuff that you were doing when you were coming here, I knew you had a chance." And my doctor in the family, who is actually saying that I proved everyone wrong in the credits of my book, this is what he said: "Georges, you need to go to the Sylvester Cancer Center and let him know that you survived, because for them you are their trophy." What did he mean? What did he mean when he said that? You want to know what I think? That trophy doesn't happen often, and I see it with my clients. And it is not really, you are in disadvantage when somebody says, "Can you help me?" They told me that go home and do my papers and enjoy my last few days. I was given a 4% chance of surviving 3 months when it went to my brain. But I said, "Hey, why can't I be one of those 4?" Instead of thinking of the empty side of the glass. And the way I said this is because this doctor came to my house. He's my doubles partner. We play tennis together. He's an amazing tennis player. And I said, "Why don't you go? I want to. The kids are in school. I know you're off. Let's go to the New England Journal of Medicine. You have access to it. And I want to see what kind of opponent I have now that I have my meds in the brain." Because I always saw this as an opponent. I mean, I was going to fight it, and I wanted to be the first person in my Greek side of the family to survive. And so he came, and he's 6'4". He started, we are Mediterranean, so we're kind of emotional. And he started to shed some tears, and kind of like going, and I go, "What's going on? Let me read it." So he gets up, I sit down, I read that stuff, and he said that, when it goes to the brain, melanoma, it is known, they have the stats, that only 4% survive, or they live 3 to 6 months. At that time, Senator Kennedy in Massachusetts had the same thing, melanoma tumor, and he didn't make it when they diagnosed that. So yeah, it's luck. Nobody asked me about the 2 tumors that were not operable. They disappear. I explained that in my book, and I know why they disappear. But and I have to say it because I'm a person of faith. I ended up going to prayer groups. And in one point, somebody invited me to go to one where this lady had the talent of hand imposition. So I went to this place and prayed with them. The lady was, by the way, her name was Maria de los Angeles, Mary of the Angels. And then she was sick. She was in Central America. I think it was in Costa Rica or in Guatemala. I forgot. But she got a cold. She went to go to what they call healing masses. And then her and the priest and maybe some nuns do that in position of hands and by the altar. And so, but she was sick. So she was in the chapel. So the lady that invited me happens to be the sister of this doctor that I brought home and shed some tears. And she invited me, so I went. And when I got there, she goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, but Maria de Los Angeles," it was in Spanish. She's not feeling well, but she's in the chapel and she's gonna pray for you. So make it short, I went to the front side by the altar and I kneeled and I was thankful for being there. I was gonna have another craniotomy on Thursday. This is Tuesday. In that craniotomy, they told me that they were gonna do the procedure in the beginning with local anesthesia because they were worried about affecting my speech. And so, so I agreed, and I went to this prayer group, and on Wednesday, well, by the way, this lady came out. She came out and she said, "Where's Georges?" And so she goes, "That's the guy in front without hair. That's Georges." So she came in and said, "Hey, Georges, come with me to the back. I want to pray for you." And so she started praying for me and imposing her hands in my shoulders. And I had the same feeling I had at church when the priest dedicated the consecration for me. It was like a flow through my, like a river flow, warm, going through my body. And I heard this voice, "You'll be okay." I heard this voice, "You'll be okay." And when she finished, she goes, "Young man, you have something big this week." And I go, "Yeah, I'm gonna have a tumor removed from my brain, a cancer tumor removed from my brain on Thursday." And she goes, "Oh, where?" And I said, "Where?" She started praying with me again and imposed her hands in my lesion. And I again felt this stuff. When she finished, she goes, "Hey, I would not be surprised that you don't have to get your surgery done." And so, I just listened and I believed it because I just felt this healing. So when we finished, she actually shared the testimonial. Everybody's sharing testimonials, and she said it again. I don't just say, "Please, please, Lord, help me." And you are the Almighty. You have the power. Heal this young man, And so I get home. I was a different person. My wife asked me. My wife asked me that if I would go to the surgery. And I said, "Well, let me sleep on it because I really feel that this is gone." So in the morning she asked me, and by the way, when you're gonna have a craniotomy, they put the day before or 2 days before, they put a kind of like a helmet on you, so they do an MRI, and the surgeon, the neurosurgeon, knows exactly where to do the incisions and how to work and where it is. And in that scan, they saw still the two tumors that were not operable. So it's okay. I had my prayer group. I go Thursday. I wake up and my wife says, "What are you gonna do?" And I say, "No, I'm gonna go. Let's go." And so we get there. We're waiting for the doctor to come before I go to the pre-op in the room. He comes with a smile, like from ear to ear, and he goes, "Mr. Cordoba, I have 2 pieces of good news for you." And I go, my wife and I looked at each other because she knew exactly what had happened on Tuesday. And man, I was like, "Oh my goodness." So I say, "Which one you want first?" And he goes, "Well, they're both good." So the first one, he says, "Well, we had a conference with other Mayo clinics, and we don't have to do the surgery with local anesthesia. It's safe enough. It's not going to hurt your speech or anything like that. So great." And then he goes, "The other good news is that the 2 tumors in your back lobe, in your brain, they're gone. They don't show up they didn't show up in the pre thing. But after the surgery, tomorrow we're going to do another scan to see how everything went, and we'll make sure that it's not a false negative and that these tumors are really gone. And so next, after the surgery went great. They always ask you when you have a brain surgery, something, so you have to answer it, do the answer when you wake up. So they asked me, how do you say blue in Spanish? Right before they put me to sleep, and I say azul, and they put me to sleep. And then, 8 hours pass. That one was 10-hour surgery, but then you're in recovery. And when the doctor comes, and I was kind of like already getting up, and he asked me, so what is the answer? Because they put what is blue in Spanish, and they put you to sleep. So when I woke up after the surgery, they asked me, and I say blue, and everybody, the nurses, everybody was clapping, all right. And Mr. Cordoba, the other two tumors are gone. They're gone. This is not right in the morning. They did that scan later in the day. But then he came on Saturday and he says, man, everything is gone. So what can I say? That we have powers that we don't use. And I think part of the reason is because of the Bruno story. We just are so attached to one solution that we don't explore. And I invite you to explore and keep doing what you're doing, even if you know. And this is, I don't say that. If it's working, keep doing it. But if it's not, and you're starting to have like a 30% intuition that, man, this is not working for me, look for other things. Don't wait for them to tell you, go home and die. That is not good, because it's years of pain, poor quality of life, all the stuff that you guys know that we go through this. And then at the end of the day, they tell you, go try something else, or just, enjoy your life. Oh, and how about this 5 years, and all this money and all this stuff? But we didn't find the answer. So that's it. And I just hope you guys enjoyed the mental rehearsal. And I just wish you guys the best.
Thank you so much, Georges. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to shut off the recording. So I just want to thank everybody for joining us here at Cancer Conquering Community, and join us. We will have another video next week with Russ Hedge as well as Jamie Gregoire. And we'll be talking about a positive mindset through cancer. And I'm going to shut off the recording right now.